Hey guys, Tyler from Stockscores here. I'm often asked the question, how much can you make day trading? Well, to answer that question, we have to look at the numbers. And so what we're going to do in this video is go through the performance of my day trading strategy for April of 2018, give you some hard numbers to look at, and try to answer that question, how much can you make day trading? So let's get into the performance numbers first. And for someone who hasn't really followed my methodology, some of these things may not make sense. I will explain what RR is in just a moment. But the raw results for the buys in the month of April was a 72.7 RR, the shorts a 230.1 RR. And so we can see that the shorts performed much better than the buys. Now, if we optimize the strategy, and I'll talk about that later in the video, we got a number of 215 RR in total, and 18 out of 21 days in the month were profitable. So I'm going to look at the day trades for what I call the worm strategy, both buy and short. This strategy utilizes the Stockscores action candle. And for the buys, we look for an upside break with the Stockscores action candle, and for the short, the downside break. There are other rules in the strategy. Those rules are taught in the Stockscores Active Trader course, which I will show you a little more information on later in the video. And all of these signals that I highlight in this video were made live in the Active Trader online webinar that I do every month. And I'll show you a little bit about that later as well. But to begin, let's just sort of focus in on what the strategy is looking for. And I'll just get out my little pen tool here so I can draw. Now you hopefully you can see the little pink dot on this candle right here. The pink dot right there is the bullish Stockscores action candle. And it looks for some statistical significance in trading action, clues that the stock is going to make a strong directional move that day. In this particular case, the entry signal came on the first 2-minute candle of the day, and that was our entry candle, and it went steadily higher from there. On the short side, we have the same indicator, except it's highlighted in yellow on this chart, but you can see the little yellow dot there. That is a bearish Stockscores action candle, and it predicts that the stock has a good potential to move lower through the day, and this one did quite dramatically move lower. Now, how we measure performance is using reward for risk. What is reward for risk? Well, if I'm buying a stock at $10, you have to pardon my handwriting here with my mouse, is not so good, and my stop loss or my support price is at $9, I've got $1 of risk. If I sell that stock for $13, I have made $3 of profit per share for $1 of risk, which gives me a 3-to-1 reward for risk ratio. Now, how much you make on the trade depends upon your risk tolerance. If you're willing to risk $100, then in this example, you would buy 100 shares. Since your risk per share is $1, $1 times 100 shares gives you $100 of risk. And so in this particular example, for $100 worth of risk, you would have made $300. So you can see then that we can use the estimation of the entry price, support price, and our risk tolerance to define the size of our position. And that ultimately allows us to draw the risk reward lines that you see on the chart. So here is our entry price at $8.87. Our support price is at $8.71. That meant there was 16 cents a share in risk. If you buy 1,000 shares, your risk was $160. Each line that you see above, these green lines here, are the reward for risk lines. They tell us how much we are making for the risk that we took. And you can see ultimately that this trade ended the day right here, which was almost 10 RR. It was about 9.7, let's say. So that means that if you took $100 worth of risk on this trade, you made $970. That is before slippage and commissions, which tend to discount our results a little bit. I'll talk about that in a moment as well. On the short side, same concept. Here was our entry candle. Here was our, we don't call it support anymore, we call it resistance. And these are the reward for risk lines going downward. This one finished the day at between 14 and 15 RR, which is a real good winner. 14 to 15 RR means that if you took $100 worth of risk, you made $1,400. If you took $1,000 worth of risk, you made $14,000. Of course, it takes more capital to take larger positions, so you always have to think about that as well. All right, so how do we collect data to determine what the actual results are? Well, it's important to understand that my strategy is entirely based on algorithms. There's no human judgment. We have some rules that are basically based on math. We program those rules into a computer. I've got some software that runs the rules for the entire US stock market in real time, and it spits out the entry signals as they happen. And that's something that subscribers to my Active Trader live webinar can watch. They're watching my screen as my algorithms and my software is running to pick out those entry signals. So as I said, there's no human judgment, and the importance of that is that it really helps us to avoid bias. One of the great failings in trading is the human side. We let our emotions get involved, and that causes us to make mistakes that really hurt our performance. And so we want to take the human element out of the equation as much as we can. And to do that, what I've done is basically let the computer do the work. Now, my human judgment is still important because the strategy is developed based on my knowledge of trading, based on my knowledge of how stocks tend to move. But I do all of that human judgment work when the market's closed. In the evenings, I spend hundreds and hundreds of hours developing my strategies to identify the ideal times to buy and exit the trade, or short and exit, as it were. So the steps when we collect the data is, first, we let the computer calculate the valid entry signals from all US stocks. We calculate a number of indicators for those different trades. We insert that data into a spreadsheet, and then we can calculate the performance data. And because we're collecting some data on different components of the strategy, we can also optimize the overall performance by changing the values of some of those indicators. Now, this is my trading screen that I am looking at every day. In the top area here, this is my buy side. So you see here it's called Worm Finder. Worm is the name of the strategy. It's my primary day trading strategy. And then this bottom window is the short sell side, and it's identifying the short sell entry signals. Now, if you look really closely, you can see that the interval for these stocks that we're watching is the 2-minute interval. All of my entry signals come on the 2-minute interval. And essentially what the computer is doing is every 2 minutes it looks at the entire US market and it tells me what stocks have triggered an entry signal, either long or short. And I then have some charts that you can see on the bigger part of the screen where I can take a look at those particular stocks to see if they have the entry signal that I'm looking for. I then take those results at the end of the day, I drop them into a spreadsheet where I can compile the results. Now, there are a number of pages to this spreadsheet here. I'm not showing you all of them, but there's a whole bunch of core data that's in this spreadsheet, thousands of lines of trades that I've collected over a number of months so that I can really get a good impression of what the expected value of the strategy is. By expected value, I mean how much do I expect the strategy to make per trade based on a large data set of examples. And I literally have thousands and thousands of trades in this spreadsheet that I can manipulate to identify what works best and what the total profitability is. The screen that is probably most appropriate here is this row right here. This shows the total profitability with a maximum number of trades of 20, because my actual algorithm some days will spit out more trades than I can handle. You know, I can easily do 20 trades a day, but to do, 110 trades in a day, not realistic, at least not for me. I just can't work fast enough to do that. And so what I've done is I've capped the results at 20 trades per day, and you can see the daily results going back to March 5th here, and it actually goes higher on the spreadsheet. I'm not going to show all of that detail today, but most days it's profitable. And it has a few losing days here. And incidentally, the profits that you see here, or losses, that's based on $1,000 worth of risk. So if you see a number like that one, $23,000 of profit, that was based on $1,000 of risk. divide that by 1,000, essentially your risk reward ratio on that day was 23. So if you took $100 worth of risk, then the profit potential was $2,300. $1,000 worth of risk, $23,000. All right, moving right along. The Stockscores day trading strategy algorithms generate numerous signals throughout the day, giving us a lot of opportunity. And as I said, to be as realistic as I can be for what most people are capable of, I scale back the results since most of us just can't take every trade. So if we limit the results to 20 trades per day and focus on long or short based on whether the market's trending up or down, and that's one of the rules that I teach in the course material, the gains for April were 215 RR. Now, the next step is to look at the equity curve of the strategy, because no matter how much capital you're trading with, no matter how many trades you take, if you have an equity curve that is going up from left to right in a fairly linear fashion without a lot of volatility, you have a strategy that's worth trading. And any of you that know anything about algorithmic trading or strategy trading will be familiar with this concept, but here's the equity curve going back to February for my worm strategy, which is the primary day trading strategy that I'm using right now. And what you can see is that, there's some minor blips along the way, but generally speaking, this is a linear trend for the strategy, and that means it's somewhat predictable, that even though we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, if we do this strategy over and over again, we should expect that it should make us money over time, as long as history is a good indication of the future. Now, I traded today. You don't see the results here today, but in today's trading, I'm up about 8 or 9 RR based on just applying the rules as I've talked about. That means when I say 8 or 9 RR, if my risk was $100, I'm up $800 or $900. If my risk was $1,000, I'm up $8,000 or $9,000. I tend to go somewhere in the middle of that range, depending on my confidence for the day. So how much can you make? Well, the strategy, as I've shown you, is demonstrating there's very consistent and excellent profits historically. To capture the trades requires a number of things. You have to have some knowledge of what to do. I teach that in the course material. You have to have discipline to follow the rules. You have to have the focus to sit there and really identify the entry signals as they come. If my mind wanders or if I take a phone call, I could easily miss an entry signal, and that can leave me missing a profit. The Stockscores indicators for TradeStation are really essential to doing this. You have to have access to my action candle to see these entry points, long or short. And whether you want to follow my live trading webinar where I'm doing all the work for you, or use TradeStation yourself and the action candle indicator, which I make available to my students, you need those indicators to identify those things. That's the thing that gives me my edge in the market. Now, the active live service is automated. It's easy. You don't have to do the work. You don't have to learn how to use TradeStation, but you're not totally in control. You're a little bit more dependent upon me. If you want to have me do the work, that's great. If you want to do it yourself, we give you those options as well. And of course, you have to have capital to trade. And then I think something that people really underestimate is that it takes some practice. I can move around my trading screen very, very fast because I've practiced a lot. And anyone can get to that speed and efficiency, but it takes time to learn. And there's just no replacement for repetition. If you do it 10 times, you're going to be still relatively slow compared to me. 100 times, well, you're going to start to pick up your pace. Do it 1,000 times, you're going to get pretty good at it. It's kind of like shooting baskets. The more you shoot, the better you get at it. So how much can you make? Well, if you think about it this way, if you can make 10 RR and your risk tolerance is $100 per trade, your gross profit is $1,000. Now, I always want to factor in slippage because you're not going to get filled at the ideal price. The reality of the market is that there's a spread between the bid and the ask, and I never get exactly the RR that my computer predicts. I factor in a 10 to 20% discount for slippage and commissions. So that takes that 10 RR down to 9 or 8 RR for the day, let's say. Now, slippage is going to be less if you're trading a very liquid stock like Apple. I actually bought Apple today. My slippage was almost zero because the stock is so liquid. When I enter my buy order, I get filled at pretty much where I should get filled based on what the computer is giving me the entry signal at. However, a stock like Apple also takes more capital because it is a higher price stock. It is less volatile. And so the less liquid stocks tend to give you bigger bang for your buck, but also a little more slippage. So those are some of the things you have to balance when you're calculating the potential profitability for trading. So if you want to learn how to do this strategy and my other strategies as well, I'm really just focusing on one today, but these are all taught in the Stockscores Active Trader course. And once you've completed that course, you're eligible to participate in my active live service where you can watch my trading screen through the day and get my live alerts generated by the computer. If you want to use TradeStation, my students will also receive my indicators. Quite truthfully, it's cheaper and less work to use Active Live, but I give that choice to all of my students. If you go into the Stockscores website, and I'll just show you here, you can go into Trader Training and go to Learn How to Trade. And on that particular page, you'll see all the details of the different course options and a little more detail about what is offered. If you want to learn more about Active Live, go to Stockscores Analysis and go to Active Live Trading. Click on that. And you can watch some videos and you can see my schedule for upcoming Active Live sessions and a little more detail on that particular webinar series as well. So what is the Active Trader course? Well, you're going to learn my analytical methods, my entry rules, both long and short, my exit rules, the risk management that we talked about, how to size our positions, that sort of thing, the importance of emotional control, and some things that you can do to really give yourself the ability to manage your emotions. And I think importantly, one of the things that I offer for my students, because I don't teach a lot of people every year, is support from me. You have a question, fire me an email, I'm going to get back to you typically within the day, sometimes very quickly, unless I'm on a plane or something. My response time is very quick, and that's a great way to, learn the material with someone there to support you through that process. As I said, I don't teach a lot of people every year, perhaps 100 people a year. I'm not primarily a teacher, I'm primarily a trader. You can see my screens running in the background here. I'm trading all day, every day, and I have a little time during the day to answer some questions for those who want to take my courses, but I'm not teaching thousands of people where you lose the opportunity, but also I could never do that myself personally. So if you want to learn more about that course, go to that page that I showed you. The course can be taken anytime. It's all online. You sign up, you have instant access to the material. On a regular basis, I will do an update live webinar day. The next one is coming up in 6 weeks, and I do them on a regular basis. You can check stockscores.com for the details of that. You just go to the upcoming events area, and in the upcoming events area, I'll have my schedule for when the next, I call it an overview day. The overview day is just to kind of give you a basic overview of everything and how all the rules work together. All that material is still taught online, but I like to complement it a little bit. And the important thing is I like to also focus in on what I see working the best right now. I teach a number of different strategies. The reason I teach different ones is because some strategies work better in different market conditions. So I like to, on a regular basis, give you some insight into what's working the best and maybe some little tweaks to my rules that I've made. It's just a way to keep everything fresh and up to date. So the next one I believe is coming up June 9th. But if you're watching this video after that date, just check the Stockscores.com website for more detail on that. Now, Stockscores Active Live, that's what you see running in the background right here on this screen. That's my algorithms running in real time. I'm recording this video while the market is open. So you're watching my trading screen all day. You're watching as my algorithms are identifying all the valid day trades throughout the day with a visual and audible trade alerts. I don't know if you can hear it, but in the background, there's a little bit of a voice going off once in a while, and that is the computer saying there's a buy signal on a particular stock. So it's audible and visual. You get a pre-market briefing by me in the 5 minutes before the market opens. I give you my sense of how the market's going to work that day, where I see opportunities, but ultimately the opportunities come when the market opens, and that's what we want to watch for. There's an end of day discussion about half an hour before the close. I look for some swing trading opportunities. Swing trading is holding stocks for a number of days, perhaps even weeks. We will analyze the previous day's performance. I'll look at the previous day's entry signals for long and short and tell you the performance of all of those so that you can compare with what you actually did. It's a great way to see if there's maybe some mistakes that you're making. And on a regular basis, perhaps once a week, we do a little strategy optimization, figure out what the ideal stop point is for different strategies, what the values of some of those indicators should be. And all of that is just based on the data that I collect daily on the every trade that is signaled by the computer through the trading day. So in summary, trading is simple. It's not easy. Success requires an edge. My webinar chat room, whatever you want to call it, is using things that I haven't seen anywhere else. It's fully algorithmic, and that is what gives me the edge. The human side is taken out of it. We take out emotion. We let the computer do the work. It's really critical to take out that human emotion and bias. I really want everyone to focus on an algorithmic approach. The best and best performing money managers in the world these days, perhaps for the last 5 years, are almost entirely algorithmic. My aim is to reach the performance of the computerized algorithm. Now, my computer can do far better than me because it's faster, because it doesn't have the human mistakes that I might make. But still, if you can get to that 100 to 200 RR per month, that's a great goal to have. And that is, if you can get to that point, it shows that you have taken what I've taught and really put it to work and controlled your emotions and been focused and been disciplined. Those are all the things that just take some practice to get to. So if you want to take advantage of some of these things that we offer at Stockscores to get trained and start learning, just go into the Stockscores website. Those pages that I showed have lots of information there for you. And take it from there. I hope that you've enjoyed this look at my trading performance for the last month. If you want to know the performance for the next month, you can monitor my trades in real time on Active Live. If you have any questions for me, my contact sheets are on the Stockscores website. If you go to the feedback forums or anything, you can contact me that way. It all goes personally to me. I'll answer your questions myself. So, hope that you've enjoyed the video. Have a great day.